adoption I wish people would understand is the connection to the child that the adoptive parents have longed for so long is pretty instant. The bonding is there. Often we got questions, are you afraid that you won't be able to bond with your own child? And they have to understand that this does become your child. And it does take that special person to parent an adopted child. But once you go there in your mind and you're saying, this is a gift that the Lord is giving us and a gift that the birth parents are giving us, we're going to love that child as if they were ours.
I just can't remember a time when I figured out I was adopted. I just knew from the beginning, and it was because they read children's books. They told me often that my birth mom loved me. And so there was not even ever this room for doubting my story or doubting the decision that was made, regardless of what other people said or other people's experiences. I knew in my heart that mine was made because my birth mom was a hero and gave us a family. And I knew that from the beginning. And I think the advice, if you want your adoptive kid to grow up being proud of their story and being proud to be adopted, I think the adoptive parents have to set that tone. That's where it starts, of embracing your story, paying respects to those who got you to this place. Because I think without my dad and mom setting all this up, we wouldn't be here sitting at a table like it's a normal thing. I think sometimes I forget that this is not normal. This is like a dream that both of you had and I had in the later stages of my life, but you guys had dreamt of this moment for years, but it was such a far off dream that it didn't seem like it was possible at times. But now here we are. And so I think it starts with you and the adoptive parents embracing the child's story. And I think that defined my journey completely.
So speaking of your story, we honored you and your brother in saying this is your story.
Right.
It's not just our story. Mm-hmm. It's really more your story than our story. And when people would be asking us personal questions about your story, David and I would always say, one day maybe they will tell you themselves.
Yeah. That's good.
You know, in other words, you know, it's none of your business. You know, we didn't say that
politely,
but it is their story to tell.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing? I want to tell you one thing. I don't know if you know this because you had such a great experience with adoption because of your mom. But, you know, I mean, obviously, you know that I'm a social worker. So on the other end of this, I deal with adoptions and families too. And it's funny because there are times where I meet parents, so adoptive parents, and they don't want to tell their children that they're adopted because there's that fear. They're not going to love me or it's going to change their opinion of me. So they actually will tell me, you know, when they're older. And it's funny because my jaw always drops and I'm like, okay. And so they'll say when they're older, we're going to tell them. And so I have to go through and I have to talk to people about how unhealthy it is for a child to not know that story. And your mom and dad did it so right, because the truth is that when it's a story that starts from the moment they're young and they hear it, even though they can't understand it, and the information is given in slow amounts as they get older, it is so much of a healthier identity in who they are and their story than for someone who chooses. And it, you know, people do it, and I'm not going to say that, you know, you can't fix it later, but the children should always know from the beginning about their story. And even if their birth parents don't have a good situation, like your parents were fantastic and they said great things about me, you could always find something great about a birth parent. And you should always, always, always help your kids understand that regardless of whatever their circumstances are in life, they chose to give you life. So that right there,
that's enough.
Is enough.
That's enough.
But I just say that because I just think it's a kind of a common fear they don't want to tell their kids. And so some people don't. And I don't think that's healthy.
I think that's the reason I don't bat an eye at my story, is because I just grew up being empowered through it because it was mine. And I knew it and I got to tell it. And it still, like you're saying, develops every year. I think the more that we are friends, we uncover new layers of our story, of the feelings that were involved in our story. But when you have those pivotal years of growth and then you learn something about yourself that completely changes everything. Well, then you start to question, you start to wonder about the questions of why did somebody place me for adoption? And it's not, you don't grow up knowing I was placed for adoption out of love. I mean, that's how I was raised. I was given a family. I was given the gift of a family, and you loved me enough and loved me so much that you chose that for me. Whereas I think if you miss out on some of those years, it's really hard to go backwards and try to teach that again. So I agree with you. I think that's a great piece of advice.
And so people still ask me, when did you tell your children? That had to be a hard conversation. I said, well, when they were in my arms. You know, one of the happiest days of our life was the day you were adopted. So,
and I think it goes much deeper than this, because never in my life have I had a moment where the roles of each of you were mixed. Like, I always knew who my mom and dad were because they raised me, but I always knew who my birth mom was because she was the one that made a decision first and gave this to us. So I think when you have that conversation young, you have respect for both roles, and you understand that there's room in your heart for both roles. You don't have to. I remember you faced some questions about, are you threatened in any way with your kids going to meet their birth mom? No, because we knew that there was room in our hearts, in our homes, in our family to invite you into that space. Because without you, we wouldn't have even been in that space.
and it's not like we never thought of that ever coming. We knew it would come to.
Right.
And we prepared ourselves and longed for it, really.
Yeah. That's great. And now it just feels so normal. It's weird. Like, we do Thanksgiving and go to Hawaii together. So it's like just in addition to the family. And when I explain our relationship, I'm like, Tammy is like my sister. I don't know. It's kind of weird. You're just like the fun, like, we get to have this friendship.
I'm not fun.
You had to put up with me through all the discipline years and teach me how to be a good person.
Yes.
Tammy gets to come in now, and we just get to be friends.
We just get to have fun.
As your dad says, it was a lot of hard work.
Yeah, they did the hard.